करके उसी में उसको एड्रेसिंग के थ्रू जो इन और आउट करते हैं उसके थ्रू उसको चलाते हैं।
Okay, yes, perfect. Then FB.
सर एफबी रिगार्डिंग उतना नॉलेज नहीं है एफबी के रिगार्डिंग, बट एफबी में हम एफसी में हमको टाइमर और काउंटर नहीं मिलते, बट एफसी में टाइमर और काउंटर मिल जाते हैं एफबी में।
एफसी में टाइमर और काउंटर नहीं मिलते, एफबी में मिल जाते
हाँ,
हैं।
जैसे हम लोग यूज करते हैं इंटरनल, हम जैसे स्टैटिक होता है ना, इसमें एक स्पेस होता है स्टैटिक का, उसमें हमको एफसी में नहीं मिलता स्टैटिक का, बट एफबी में मिल जाता है।
ओके, ठीक है। स्टैटिक वाला पार्ट इज करेक्ट, बट टाइमर वी कैन ऑल्सो यूज इन एफसी एफबी, बट इन आउट सेक्शन में।
बट सर जो हम एफबी में एफसी में यूज करेंगे सर, उसके लिए तो अलग, अगर एक टाइमर कॉल करेंगे तो उसकी अलग डिग्री बनती है उस टाइमर की। बट जो हम
यस,
एफबी में यूज करते हैं तो स्टैटिक में उसको डिफाइन कर देते हैं उस टाइमर को, वो बाय डिफॉल्ट इंटरनल आ जाता है।
करेक्ट करेक्ट। हाँ, मीन्स डिफाइन हम दोनों में कर सकते हैं, बट डिफरेंस इज कि इफ यू आर डिफाइनिंग इन द एफसी, यू हैव टू डिफाइन इन द आइदर इन आउट सेक्शन, करेक्ट। और अगर आप एफबी में डिफाइन करते हैं तो वी कैन डू इट इन द स्टैटिक, तो आपका वो एक्सटर्नल डीबीज के मेमोरी सेव हो जाते हैं।
यस सर।
Okay, so let's talk about all this point. So generally we use either FC or FB to do the structured programming. The structured programming means, like, if you use OB, so if you use OB, so this, after what you do, you write a program from network number 1, like, then you are simply going to write everything like network, 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 and so on. Network and correct now. So in this case, your program will become very lengthy. If you want to do some any kind of troubleshooting, that is not going to help in this. So what we do, we can structurize our program. We can structurize in the form of two user-defined block. That is, one is FC, and FC stands for function, and another one is FB, that stands for function blocks. Okay. With the help of these two blocks, we can structurize our program. So, but if you talk about the major difference between FC and FB, that is not only about the static variable. So let's add one block. And here you can see, if you click on the FC function, so if you will read the description, here it is written, function are code blocks or subroutines without dedicated memory. Correct. And if you look at the description of function block, here it is written, function block or code block that store their values permanently in instance data block, so they remain available after the block has been executed. So if you talk about the actual difference between FC and FP, so this is the main difference. So FC and how, what is the meaning of this particular line? Okay, function or code block or subroutine without dedicated memory. What is it?
सर एफसी में जो डाटा ब्लॉक है वो क्रिएट नहीं होता, विदाउट उसके
Okay.
वो एग्जीक्यूट हो सकता है। बट एफबी में
Yeah.
अगर अगर बनाए प्रोग्राम तो हम उसको जब कॉल करेंगे तो उसका एक पर्टिकुलर डाटा ब्लॉक क्रिएट होता है, इसकी वजह से।
हाँ, ठीक है, वो तो दैट इज अ मेथड ऑफ डिफाइनिंग योर एफसी एंड एफपी, बट व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर लाइन विदाउट डेडिकेटेड मेमोरी? Or function block with which store their value permanently, they have a memory in case. So let's prove this point. What is the meaning of this particular line without dedicated memory? So functions are code block or subroutine. That is simple. Here we call as block in some PLC. It is defined as a main routine or subroutine. So that is the word. So if you want to create a function, click on the function. Here you can select the language, in which language you want to add a function. Problem. I am naming the function here FC1. Okay. So here I have added a function, and now as you are writing a program in the main OB1, in the similar manner, you can write a program here also. So like I have mentioned for the dual starter. So this, you can mention it over here. Correct. For example, I0.1, I am considering I0.2, then I0.3, and Q0.1, Q0. Okay. And we can rename all the tags. So let's suppose this is my start. This one is my stop. This one is my overload relay. And this, okay, this one is suppose footer. And this one is overload relay. Okay, so till here, nothing difference in, okay, start is already there. Okay, no problem. So till here, there is a no difference in you writing the program in OB, and now you have written in the FC. But the thing is, your program in FC will only will execute if you call it in your main OB1. Otherwise, whatever you have written in function or function block, it is not going to execute. Because whenever CPU comes to run mode, after run mode, CPU only executes OB. CPU will only execute on OB. So in OB, if I will define that this particular function, then only it is going to execute. So for every function, you need to define it in your main OB. Correct? For defining, you can simply drag and drop it. Then you can able to execute it. So let's check it first. So here you can see now you have written the logic in your function, you have called it in your OB1, and now if you will want to test your logic, either open it from here or simply double click on it and give your command from your simulation. So for that, I need to have sim table. Go over here, transfer all the tags. This start is already there. Stop. Then OLR status motor. Okay. So if I will give the start, here you can see motor is running for a while. Let's remove the status. Okay, here you can see. If I am pressing the start button, my motor is running. If I will press my stop button, motor is off. That's simple logic we have written. So this is the first use case of FC where you can structurize your program. Now let's take a talk about second use case. So this is the logic that I have written for one motor. Now, if there is a scenario that you are having 25 motor or 50 motor that is working exactly on the same logic. Means if I have 25 motors, that means the start command for first motor will be different. Start command for second motor will be different. For third motor, it will be different. So only there will be difference in the input and output, but nothing change in the logic. Nothing change, nothing will change in the logic. So for that case, what you will do? So instead of using this global variable, you have to take help of this local variables. So I have to remove this first. So start, there should be stop, OLR, motor, and here is again motor. Okay. So I need to create a variable in the interface table first. So let's do it like start. The data type will be bool. Okay. And it will be stop. This will be bool again. Then I have OLR. It will be bool again. Now, what will be the for the motor?
Output motor.
Output or in out?
Motor is
In out.
So stop. Here will be OLR. And then here is a motor that I am using a output, but for holding I have used as the
Yes.
input also. So I will define here
In out.
as a in out. Okay, so this will be so now what you have written earlier, the thing was we have written the logic with the help of global address. As I am referring I0.0 here, that means this particular instruction will get executed only by I0.0. Now I haven't defined any fixed addresses here. I have used these local addresses. With the help of local addresses, I have written the logic and after writing the logic, I will execute it again. So here you can see by default it becomes red, and intuitive you are fine because block was invalid because the interface was changed in meantime. So what you need to do, you need to update the block. So here you will get the option of update block call. Click on this. So it will give you the compared list. This is your old and this one is your new. Click on OK. Now here you can see it is asking you for the parameter for start, parameter for stop, parameter for OLR, and now parameter for motor. So here you can assign like before 0.0, 0.2, I0.3, and then Q0.1 suppose. So this will instance of motor number 1. Instance for motor 1. Now, in the similar manner, you have to call the FC again, and this will be instance of motor number 2. And here you can also write the addresses I0.4, I0.5, I0.6, and Q0.2. Okay, so I have created 2 instances. Download it. And now if you wish, you can execute it from your simulator table. Okay, till here any doubt? Okay, so now this is very easy. So you have defined in the input, you have defined in output, you have, if you will define in the in out, you need to pass the parameter from your main OB or wherever you have called. Now, apart from this, we have some more variable in interface table. The first one is temporary variable. So again, temporary variable is the variable that you can use only inside the FC. If you have defined anything in the temp variable, that you no need to pass the parameter from outside. That is only and only for the internal use. Just for example, I am using temp here. Okay, so let's, for example, instead of in out, I am defining it in output. Let's define motor in the output. So this is my motor. Okay, and here instead of, I am using one temp variable, suppose temp. So this I have defined. This temp will help in the holding, and finally this temp is going to give command in my motor. Okay, so I have written this logic. First of all, tell me, will this logic work? Okay, you may get this error sometime the specified call environment is invalid due to program change in the block made at later time. Reset the call environment. That means this particular FC didn't get particular call environment. So that's nothing. You go to your main OB1, just give the monitoring path. Double click on the any instance. Now, if you will start monitoring, it will provide you the path of that particular call environment. So, okay. So now tell me, is this logic correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see. So I have to give start command. So I have given start command. Correct. Now, here you can see, I have given the start command. My temp is on. My motor is also on. Till here it's fine. But now, as I will remove the start command, this motor should hold, na?
Yes.
So now you can see, as I will remove the start command, here you can see, I am giving command from, see, na? Yes, now you can see. So I have given the start command. Here you can see it is now temp is on, temp is going to turn on the motor. But as I will remove the start command, here you can see, now it's become off. It is not holding. Why?
सर और हर एक स्कैन साइकिल में जो टाइम वेरिएबल होता है उसको जीरो कर देंगे।
ओके, सॉरी सर, आपका आवाज डिस्टर्ब आया था, फिर से बताइए।
पीएलसी जो सर हर एक स्कैन साइकिल में जो टाइम वेरिएबल होता है उसको जीरो कर देता है।
Yes, correct. See, the temp variable means temporary variable. Temporary variable will hold their value only for the current cycle. Next scan cycle में उसकी value zero हो जाएगी. Means temp variable is not going to remember what is the value in the previous cycle. Here, why it is not getting hold? Because our program execution is from left to right and top to bottom. So when program's execution started from here, at this instance, temp variable is 0. Here the temp variable is 0, and now here temp variable become 1. So that is left to right. This part is already executed. So left to right, here it become 1. So after that, here it will become 1. So it will turn on the motor. So as the instance completed, for the next cycle, again it becomes 0. So please keep in mind, if you are defining temporary variable, you need to take care of the sequence also. For example, if I will define this cut and suppose paste. Now what will happen? I have temp variable in the network 1, and this I am writing temp variable in the network number 2. So will motor get on? If I will give the start command, will motor get on? There you can see.
No, sir.
As I will give the start command, as I will give the start command, here you can see start. Now this temporary variable is on, but after this execution has completed, When it will come to the network number 1, the value will become 0 again. That's why here temporary variable is not able to on the motor. Correct? Understood temporary variable? And if you have defined temporary variable, so that will only inside the FC. Even if you are going to call in your OB, there is a no effect in that. Here you can see in OB, I have only 4 variables that we have defined: start, stop, OLR, and motor. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
So can you redefine the sequence of motor 1 and motor 2 in the starting, where you are telling that the sequence of how the temperature or temporary variable will excite or to 1 or 0?
No. The sequence means wherever your temporary variable get on now, after that if you will use temporary variable, it will get high. If you will use means पहले अगर आप use करेंगे, for suppose here I have triggered my temporary variable here, but I have used before that. So our program sequence is like left to right, top to bottom. Correct now? Left to right, top to bottom. So whenever the execution will start from network number 1, left to right. So here my temporary variable is 0. So it will remain 0 in the network number 1. Now in network number 2, again left to right. So left, again it becomes 0. And now here it become 1. But after this execution completed, nothing in it. So when it will come to the next cycle, the previous value, whatever the value in the previous cycle, that is going to be reinitialized. So here it will become again 0. So that's why this temporary variable will not able to switch on my motor. If I will use here, for example, temp, or let's take any variable. Now here you can see this is on, this is off, because here my temporary variable become 1. After that execution will go to the my network number 3. Now temp is still in the current cycle. So current cycle, he knows the value is 1. That's why here it is on, and now it has turned on M2.0. तो जब भी आपको टेम्प वेरिएबल लेना है, तो जहां पे आपने राइट किया है उससे पहले नहीं ले सकते. उससे पहले लिए तो एग्जीक्यूट नहीं कर पाएगा. Understood?
Yes, sir. And what to do for holding the motor if we remove the start?
नहीं, फिर तो आपको like you have to take something in the in out section.
Okay.
और इसी पर्पस के लिए मतलब मींस अब सी वी हैव टू डिफाइन एक्स्ट्रा वेरिएबल फॉर द इन आउट ना. फॉर होल्डिंग वी हैव टू डिफाइन एक्स्ट्रा वेरिएबल. करेक्ट? एक इन आउट में बनाना ही पड़ेगा. देन ओनली यू कैन एबल टू होल्ड.
Okay.
So that's why for this purpose in FB we got static variable. Okay. ठीक है, FB की बातें थोड़ी देर में करते हैं. So this is we have prepared. Let's back to our logic again. Motor. Okay. So while calling FC, we read the statement that FC is a block or subroutine that is without dedicated memory. So the behavior of FC is exactly like your temp variable. What is the meaning of this statement? Let's see it. Okay. So now what I am doing, okay, whenever my motor will start, I want just for example, I want to transfer some set point. So let's here constant variable is also there. Again, constant, if you want to use some fixed constant throughout the program, but only inside this FC. So you can use this constant. That's for example, I have set point that is integer. Okay. And default value. So let's 500 is my default value. Okay. So this is my set point output. So let's suppose motor RPM, and here it is int. Okay. And motor RPM. Okay. This I have mentioned. Now, okay, I have done some mistake because here I need to update the block call as well. Motor RPM. So let's do MW 10 and here MW12. So here you can see. Now, according to my logic, as I think start button is already pressed. So as I have turned on the start button, this move particular instruction got command, and now whatever the set point that I have defined in the input, now it is transferring to the output, and same you are getting in your execution also. Correct? Now tell me, what will happen if I will give the stop command? What will be the value of this motor RPM? Will it be 500 or will it become 0?
Last class of 500.
It will remain 500.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so let's see. I have the start command now. As I will remove the start command and trigger the stop, means I need to cut the execution of my move block. So here it is still executing. So let me press the stop button. So as I will press the stop button, here you can see. Now this move instruction is not getting any execution point, not getting any enable, and that's why the value become 0 again. So this is the meaning of this statement. Function are code block or subroutine without dedicated memory. That means function may be in function also, if you will store a value that will only remain active for the current cycle, next cycle में पहले cycle की value क्या थी वो याद नहीं करके रखता हो. So यहाँ पे क्या हुआ, in the current cycle, when you are giving the start command, it was transferring this 500 to this particular RPM. As you have removed the command, the execution started again. So whatever the value in the previous cycle, FC is not going to remember that particular value. So the values in FC is again only remain in the current cycle. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have input here, output here, in, out here. So anything, if you define inside input, output, in, out, that you need to compulsorily define parameter over here. And for temporary variable, you can use inside the FC constant. Again, you can use inside the FC. And what about the return? What about the return? Anybody have used this variable, return variable? So you might have seen this type of instruction, like normal instruction. Here you can see, for example, if I have suppose taken get. Get some FC instruction. Okay, suppose this is the instruction that I have taken. Now here you can see this return value. What is the purpose of this return value? Or you might have seen this type of instruction, this particular variable in many instructions. Return value, return value, return value. What is the purpose of this return value? Okay, so generally this return value helps you in the diagnostic of this particular instruction. So suppose if you are using it for the communication purpose, or for XYZ purpose, you are using this particular instruction. So they programmed return value in such a manner so that if the particular fault occur, the return value will gives you some codes. Correct, like fault status code, anything. So for this return value, you can program it like for fault tracing. अगर fault कुछ trace वगैरह करना है तो you can program return value like that. Like Modbus वगैरह में भी देखते हैं. In if you do the Modbus communication, there are multiple code. A status was there. Status रहता है. Correct now? So how they program? They program with the help of this return value. So how you are going to use the return value? So again, it is simple. So suppose in this case, return value, I am using it as bool. Okay, and you cannot able to change the name. The variables inside the return value will always the your FC. So my FC is DOL, and this DOL I am using it as bool. Now, what I want, if my motor is on, I want true status. If my motor is false, I want false status. Okay. So what I can write, if my motor is on, this should return the value of true to me. So I am going to use this particular instruction, and DOL. DOL. Here you can see. So as my motor will get on, this will switch on my DOL, and the status that I will get in my input here will be DOL. So it won't. I need to update the block call. No problem. Let's update it. Now here you can see return value. It asking me again for one variable. Let's put m2.2, m2.3. And now here you can see for the first motor, now nothing is on. So as I will give the start command, okay. Let's give the start command true. So here you can see. Now it is true. As motor is on, DOL is also on, and in the return value here you will find this true. That means for the current logic, my motor is in good state. Now if it become false, so that means now my motor is in fault condition or something is wrong with it. Correct. So this is the purpose of return value. So even the instruction that I have shown you, that is nothing, that was also an FC. But the only difference is these are the global FC or user programmable FC, and those instruction that is pre-programmed ready to use block. That was the only difference. Okay, understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and even like it is not compulsory that you have to call FC directly to the OB. You can call one FC into another FC and that FC into another FC. That is also possible. Means FC5 to FC4, FC3, FC2, FC1 like this. But every controller has fixed nesting depth. Means if you talk about this, means here I have, suppose this is my first FC5, and then we have here what you will write. Suppose this is my FC4, and here you have call FC4. Okay, here you have what you have done. This is my FC3, and here you have call FC4, and then here I have FC2, and here I have call FC3, and then I have FC1, and then call FC2, and finally this will be OB OB, and here it will be call FC1. Correct?
Sir,
Yes.
it will be FC5, right? In FC4.
Yes. Correct. FC5. So this in this manner also you can call your FC, but here this for this purpose we call it as nesting depth. Means this particular FC has a nesting depth of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The nesting depth is now 6. So for every controller, nesting depth is limited. For this particular controller, 15163 PNDP, it is up to 24. So after 24, it will give you the nesting depth error. It won't allow you to download your program. Correct. So that depends on CPU to CPU. For this particular CPU, this is 24. And in the data sheet, you can find about the other CPUs, how much it is limited. Like for 300, it is 16. For 400, again, it is 24. And for 1500, 1516, it is 24 again. Understood? Okay. So if you understood this, then FB is almost similar, but have some difference. So let's add FB first. So here in FB, if you will click over here, so it is written function blocks are code block that store their values permanently in instance data block so that they remain available after the block has been executed. But for knowing FB, you should have an idea about the data block. So first, let's talk about data block, then we will come to FB again. Okay. So if you talk about data block, if you talk about data block, we have two type of data block. One, we call it as global data block, and the second one, we call it as instance data block. Okay. So instance data block means, so the data block that will always connected with some block. Like if you take timer, with as you will take timer, it will ask you for the one data block. That is instance data block. If you will take counter, it will ask you for the one data block. That is again an instance data block. Even if you will call FB will ask you for a one data block. That is nothing instance data block. So the variables inside the instance data block will come from the instruction that you have connected with particular DB. If you are using the timer, तो टाइमर के जो इंस्ट्रक्शंस हैं लाइक SPB TR जो भी है वही आएंगे उस पर्टिकुलर डेटा ब्लॉक में. If you want to add your own data, that is not possible in instance data block. For example, if I will take one timer here, suppose here I have taken one timer. Suppose pulse timer I have taken. So as you will take pulse timer now, it is asking you for one data block. Here suppose this is suppose pulse TP. I am mentioning it as pulse TP. So now here you can see this is instruction. For this instruction, I have given 1 dB. The number is dB1, and if you look at the parameter of dB1, here you can see in system block, this dB1 I have created, and inside this I have only PT, ET, INQ. Means these are the instructions exactly that I am having in this particular instruction. Here you can see PT, INQ, ET. If I want to add some whole instruction, that is not possible. This is nothing. This is instance DB. And here you can see, if you will go to the properties of that particular DB, here you will find data block derived from IEC timer. Okay, so the number you can change, but you can't able to change the this behavior. It will always be instance. So if you want to add your own variable, if you want to create your own variable, in that case, you need to go for global DB. So how to create global DB? So add new block. And now here I have the option of data block DB. You can name it as here, suppose data, and discussion data block saves program data, correct? So now this is, and type, here you can see it is global DB. And even here also, if you will select any of these variable like file DB header, IC counter, IC double counter, large counter, any variable if you will select, it is nothing, it is your instance DB. Means suppose if I will select IC timer here, that means now what will happen? Instead of global DB, data will become instance DB for this particular IC timer. So here you need to select global DB, or second option is here also array DB is also here. So if you want to directly create, either you have two options. In global DB, you can also define an array. That is possible. But one option directly given you to the array DB, it will ask you how much amount of array data you want to create. So it will directly create an array for that particular variable inside the DB. Okay. So take global DB. Now click on OK. So here now you can see. Now this particular global DB is giving you the option to add the variable. So you can add variables whatever required in this data block. Now for this data block, again for global DB, again there are two classification. In global DB, we define it as optimized and then unoptimized. Optimized data block and unoptimized data block. Anyone have heard about this? Optimize, unoptimize? What is the meaning of optimize? Meaning of unoptimize?
सर इट मे बी ऑप्टिमाइज इज जो भी आपका डाटा ब्लॉक होता है उसके अंदर जो भी हम एड्रेस डिफाइन करते हैं या फिर जो भी जैसे बुलियन रियल डाटा और इंटीजर तो उन सब का एड्रेस शो नहीं करता, बट जब आप ऑप्टिमाइज कर देंगे तो उसमें एड्रेसिंग शो करने लगती है.
Yes. But what is the meaning exactly?
सर इतना क्लियर नहीं है.
Okay. कोई नहीं. See, optimize means now whatever the data that you will define, so address spacing or spacing of those particular variable will taken care by CPU itself. Means CPU take care करेगा कि कौन से वेरिएबल को मुझे कैसे एडजस्ट करना है. Just for example, if you have defined any bool instruction, ठीक है, अभी suppose here I have defined one boolean, correct? So what it will take? It will take suppose byte number 0. हाँ, means ये CPU खुद take care करेगा. आपको addresses वगैरह दिखेंगे नहीं optimize में, but for understanding here I am mentioning it. This is byte number 0 and it will bit number 1. If you have defined first bit, if you will define another bit, this will be bit number 2, bit number 3, like this. Now, what will happen if you go for if you will define any integer value? First, you have defined 3 bit, and now if you will define the integer, what it will do? It will skip the byte number 0. Then it will go for the byte number 1 because integer will take 2 byte. So byte number 1 and byte number 2 will get consumed. Correct, na? Getting it, na?
Yes, sir, yes.
So this will get consumed. Correct? Now, if you will define another real value, so it is going to take 4 byte. So this will be 3, 4, 5, 6. So this will consume 4 byte. Now what happen if you will define a boolean again? अभी एक और boolean instruction मेरे को define करना है. So where it will occupy? So in case of optimized DB, if you will define a boolean after defining some variables, the CPU will optimize that boolean data itself. So what CPU will do, instead of creating a new variable, it will detect that I have already 5 bit of data is remaining in the byte number 0. So what it will do, it will define that particular boolean instruction here. So in case of optimized DB, there is no gap in the bytes. Data में कोई gap नहीं होता है. But if you compare the same scenario with unoptimized DB, so if you will define first bit, it will be here. If you will define second bit, it will be here. And as you will try to define integer after defining the boolean, I think you might have seen, it will not start from 1. It will start from 2. So 2 boolean instruction, bit number 0. And after that, I have defined integer. So it should start from 1. It should start from 1 because byte number 1 is free. But when I will define the same thing in an optimized DB, you will see there is a data gap of 1 byte. Always, if you define integer just after the boolean, there always be a data gap of 1 byte. But if you define like this, boolean, then byte, then integer, then you won't find any data gap. Means instead of integer, if I will define byte, so it will start from 1. And then integer, then you won't find data gap. Okay, but still, suppose here you have defined integer, here you have defined integer. Now after this, after byte number 5, if there is a need of defining integer again, then where it will go? Tell me. So after byte number 5, if you will define integer, it will go here. So byte number 6. So this particular 4-bit is now unutilized. So in case of optimized DB, there will be no data gap because address spaces are optimized by CPU itself. In case of unoptimized, there will be fixed addresses. As fixed addresses comes in picture, there will be continuous data gap. Okay, but both DBs are important for us. In some case, we have to use optimized DB. In some case, we have to use the unoptimized DB. Let's see when optimized DB is required, when unoptimized DB is required. So by default, if you will take any DB na, it will be optimized. By default, it is optimized. For example, let's take few variables here. I1, I2. Okay, then I have I3. So bull, let's take int here. Four. Okay. So these are the addresses that I have defined. I1, I2, I3, I4, I5, I6, I7, I8, 9. So as I told you, by default, it is optimized in nature. So here you can see these particular variables are optimized by CPU itself. CPU खुद टेक केयर कर रहा है कि कौन से वेरिएबल को मुझे कहां प्लेस करना है. यूजर्स को टेक केयर करने की जरूरत नहीं. But as I will change the variable, change the type of DB2. So how to convert your DB to unoptimized? So go to the properties of your DB and in the attributes, just uncheck this option. The change block access. If you deactivate this attribute, the retain setting in the interface changes. You may have to adapt the recompile the program. Means retentivity ka setting jo hai, that is going to change. Okay. Now here you can see, as I have convert optimized DB to unoptimized DB, I got one extra column that is of offset, and the offset means the addresses, and the addresses you will get once you compile your DB. As I will compile the DB, so here you can see I got the addresses, and if you look at the addresses, here you can see first one is Boolean. So it started from 0.0. Now second one is also Boolean. So 0.0, then 0.1. And now after Boolean, I have directly defined integer. So here you can see, here I have a data gap of 1 byte. It should start from 1.0, but now CPU is starting it from 2.0. Okay, I3, then I have defined integer, I 4.0. Okay, it's correct. For real, 6.0 correct. Now, after that, I have defined Boolean again. So here you can see, I have only two, means in byte number 0, I have only two Boolean data, but still it start from 10.0. And if I have defined byte after the Boolean, so here you can see, you won't find any data gap. It is from 10.0. So the next is byte 11.0. And then after the integer, it is 12.0 and then 14.0. So remember this point. If you are using unoptimized DB, try to define the variables like first bool, then byte, then integer. If you will go directly from bool to integer, there will be data gap of 1 byte every time. Every time if you will go for like, if I will delete this particular byte from here, then after 12, here you can see. So 10, again, there is a data gap of 1 byte. So understood the meaning of optimize and unoptimize?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is not only the difference, means this is not only about the DB, there are much more feature that we are having in the DB. So let's first talk about optimize only properties. Let's back to optimize again. Okay. Okay. So before this, tell me as you have to tell me some points like difference between our tag table and here with the DBs. What will be the differences? What is the advantage of having DB in comparison to tag table? Okay, बताइए. What are the features that we are having in the DB and that is not available in the tag table? Okay. For a reference, मैं दोनों open कर देता हूँ. So here I have a tag table. And here we have a data block. Okay. कुछ differences हैं? Okay. ठीक है. बारी बारी से देखते हैं. The first difference, if you will note, like in data block, there is a provision of start value. In data block, we have a provision of start value, but if you look at the tag table, there is a no as such provision. So it will always start from the 0. Means if it is integer, it will be start from 0. If it is Boolean, it will always start from the false. But in case of data block, we can set the start value. So what is this start value? For example, I have integer. If I don't want to start it from 0, I want to start it from the some fixed values, I can define it in start value. So again, for Boolean also, I don't want to start it from false. Let's make it true. And then here again, 45. Correct. So now if you will download this, as you will download this particular section, okay, I need compilation. Okay, some instruction is missing. Let's remove that. Oh. Here you can see false, false, and now here you can see it has started from 35. Okay. So here I have a provision of start value. Now, second advantage, if you want to retain the value, you can individually retain the value. Like if I want to retain this particular value, yes, I can do. If I want to retain this particular value, I can do. But that is not a case with tag table. In tag table, if you want to retain individual value, that is not possible. In tag table, for retentivity, here you need to provide the range. Suppose if you want to retain MW50, that is not possible. You have to retain from byte number 0 to byte number 50. If you want to retain MW100, no, individual retentivity is not possible. Here you need to mention from byte number 0 to 101, I want to retain. Then only you can able to retain the byte number 100. But in case of data block, you can individually retain the variables. Correct? Okay. What else we are having? Let's see one by one. Okay. So if you do any changes, you need to download it first. Okay. But the one thing in data block is that, see here, I have the value here. Suppose I have changed it to true. Here I have changed it to true. Now the start value is 35. I am mentioning it as 567. Okay. This integer, I am making it as 456. Real here, 45.65. And then this boolean is true. Here 34 and 67. So means the actual value of this particular variables are coming something. Okay. Now I want to add one more variable. Okay, let's go over here. Suppose I want to add one more variable, I10. So as I will do I10 now, if you will download this, here you can see if I will try to download this. Now here you can see. Here it is written, the data block will be reinitialized with their start values. Due to change the DB, all data values including retentive data will be reinitialized with their defined start value during loading. Set the CPU to stop before loading. Means what it is saying, if you want to change this particular action, you need to reinitialize the value. अगर आप reinitialize नहीं करेंगे, it won't allow you to load. So compulsorily, I need to reinitialize and then I have to click on load. If I won't reinitialize, it will not allow me to load. So I need to reinitialize, and as I will reinitialize now, here you can see all values become initialized again. So whatever the actual status that I am having, that become again equal to my start value. Now what should I do? Now it is not correct now. So whatever the value that earlier was coming, it will become 0 again because I have added one extra variable. So how I can protect this? So for this purpose, what you can do, let's change the value again.
We can use snapshot here, right?
Yes. Snapshot is also there. Download without reinitialization is also there.
Yeah.
Okay, so some variables I am getting here. Now, what you can do before doing any changes, you have to take a snapshot. Snapshot means just a picture of this particular value. So here what you can do, click on the snapshot. Here you can see snapshot of the actual value. As you will click over here, now here you can see whatever the actual value that you are having, now you got one extra column that is available in your snapshot. So if you have done some changes here, for example, I have added one variable. Now if I will load it, okay, so here you can see as I have loaded it, reinitialized again. But now you have an option that whatever the value that we are having earlier, you can transfer it to actual value again. So now you can use this second option, load snapshot as actual value. So as you will click on this option, all the actual value will overwritten by the snapshot value. Understood?
Yes, sir.
So now extra options are also there, like copy snapshot to start value. Okay, copy snapshot to start value. So it will, now I have two options here, all values and only set point. These two options. What it means, okay, if I will click on this option, all the values is going to get transferred inside the start value. But if I will click on this option, now this option is not highlighted because I have not defined any set point. So suppose if I define set point, I am defining this I9. Okay, I9 means 457 as a set point and I4. Suppose I4 I have defined as a set point, I9 I have defined as a set point. Let's download it. Okay. So if I will click on the second option, copy snapshot to the start value only set point. So only these two values, 345 and 457 will get transferred to I4, I9. Rest will remain same. So here you can see to copy snapshot to start value only snapshot. I think it get transferred. Okay, I4 and I9. Yes. So now the start value has been changed. And one more is there, load start values as actual value. So again, you have two options, all values or only set point. So you can use all these three instructions as you require. Okay. But apart from this, we have one more option, that is activate memory reserve. What is it? So now if you will look at now, if I am adding instruction or doing any modification, well, I have the option to what I can say, I have the option of snapshot that I can get the previous value. But is there any possibility that I can download this data block without reinitialization? It is asking me for the reinitialization now. So what I don't want to reinitialize the data block. So for this purpose, what you can do, you can use this activate memory reserve option. This option you have to use. How you are going to use this option? So let's download this and Optimize DB also, but few are missing in an Optimize. Like, okay, first let me go offline. In DB2, go to the properties. And here you can see, I need to go to the attributes. In attributes, Optimize DB. Okay, okay. There you can see. The things that is missing in unoptimized DB is one, that you can't able to retain variable individually. If you want to retain, you have to retain the complete variables. This part is missing in case of unoptimized DB. Either there will be no retentivity or you have to retain all the values. Correct? So this will be the first difference. And second one is activate memory reserve option is not available in case of unoptimized DB. So this download without reinitialization feature is not available in case of unoptimized DB. So here you can see it is diminished. Here you cannot able to do any editing. So these two features you won't able to get in unoptimized DB if you compare with the optimized DB. Rest of the things are same, like snapshot, copy snapshot values, all the things are same. And this part, like snapshot part, you can do, means if you have a multiple DBs, you can do all together by like this. Go, let me first download it. There you can see. If you will click on the program blocks, or here you have the option, snapshot of the actual values. So it will take the snapshot of actual values from the all the DBs. Okay, here you can see load snapshot as actual values, load start value is actual value, copy snapshot as actual value. So if you want to do to the multiple DBs together, from here you can do, or else you have to open that particular DB individually, and then you need to go over there and need to take the snapshot. Okay, now the addressing part. Or data dot I8. That's it. When you will use unoptimized DB, both addressing are possible, absolute as well as symbolic. So how to define absolute addressing? So the syntax is DB, then here it will be numbered, DB number dot DB, then here will be identifier, and then here will be boolean, byte. So identifier is like for bull, it will be X, for byte, it will be B, for word, it will be W, for double word, it will be D. Correct. So the addresses for this particular instruction, like for I6, so it will be DB, the number, so DB2 dot, it will be DB2 dot DB, it is boolean, so X, 10.0. For next, db2 dot dbw12, db2 dot dbw14, like this. Clear? Any doubt in this? Okay. Okay. Now tell me one thing. Let's make this DB optimize again. DBs optimize again. Okay. Now download it. Okay. Now suppose I have this particular integer now. I9 is the integer. Integer, that means this will be of 16 bit. I want to access the individual bit. Once here I have I9. I9, it is of integer type. That means there will be 16 bit. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Correct? Getting it now? It is of integer. That means I9 will have 16 bit. This is from bit number 0 to bit number 15. Okay. I want to see the monitoring of individual bit. Suppose I want to monitor this particular bit. That means 3, 7, 8, 9, 10th bit. Okay. I want the status of individual 10th bit. How can I get that? Understood the question? Yeah, I have integer. Integer is of 16 bit. Out of this 16 bit, I want to monitor this 10th bit only. Only 10th bit. I don't care about the rest 15 bit. I want the status of only 10th bit. How can I get that? Or forget about 10th bit. Yes. Because as we know, we have optimized DB. In optimized DB, I don't use absolute addressing because there is no fixed addresses. So whenever you have to define like I10 means data.I10. And if you are mentioning I10, that means this will indicate the complete integer.
Hello.
नाम बताइए.
Hello.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, sir. We can define like data dot I10 dot X10.
Yes. Okay. So you can define it like it will be data dot I10 dot and X10. Okay. There you can see this is the format data.i10. In i10, which variable you want to access? I want to access the 10th variable. So it will be like dot x0, dot x1, dot x2, dot x3. So it will go similarly up to dot x10. So let's suppose you want to add something and 12.0. Okay. So here you can see now it is off. If I want to make it on, I need to switch on 10th bit now. So let's for 10th bit, what should I write? 1024. Okay. So let's write it 1024. 1024. Okay. And now if you will see here you can see this is on now. So this we call it as memory slicing. So you can slice, like you can slice a word into 2 byte or 16 bit or double word into 2 word, 4 byte or 32 bit. It's up to you. So the syntax will be, in case of Boolean, we have dot %x0. If you want to slice it in the form of bytes, it will be %b. If you want to slice it in the form of word, we have %w. And if it is in the form of double word, it is %d. Understood? Okay. So this is all about the data block. Now, so FC is done, DB is done. Now we will see FB. But before that, let's take a one tea break. So after tea break, we will execute with the FB. So before that, any doubt you are having in FC or DB?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
अगर आप 1 तारीख के बाद ले सकते हो वो एडवांस जैसे मैं आज अपनी सैलरी एडवांस डाल रहा हूँ सैलरी मांग रहा हूँ तो एडवांस सैलरी
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Sir, can we means that memory splicing you told it is possible for Boolean, byte, and word, right? %x, %b, and %w. So for %d, is it possible?
No, I didn't get it. Please tell me again.
That memory splicing means what we do %x for the Boolean, %b for the byte, and %w for the word.
Yes.
I mean, it's only for the Boolean, byte, and word, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Means slice means you have to cut in pieces.
Yeah.
So if you have a double word, you will cut it either in the form of word, byte, or bit. Anything. If you suppose you have a double integer, you want to access a single bit, so you need to mention x. If you want to access the complete byte, you need to mention b. Like this.
Okay, sir. Got it.
Okay. So let's
Hello.
stop for a while. Yeah. Yes.
सर सिमेटिक मैनेजर में सर ऑप्टिमाइज डीबी नहीं यूज करते हैं सर
नहीं. In semantic manager by default it is unoptimized. उसमें ऑप्टिमाइज का कोई ऑप्शन ही नहीं है.
क्योंकि सर ऐसे देखा जाए तो ऑप्टिमाइज डीबी का सर एक बेनिफिट है क्योंकि मेमोरी काफी सिंक हो जाती है.
Yes. Like आप डेटा ज्यादा क्रिएट कर सकते हैं in comparison to unoptimized DB. In semantic manager we don't have this option.
है।